You've always said that racketeering would be the most complicated thing. Why is that?
Because, a racketeer, and I don't want to trivialize this, but people think of Tony Soprano and they think of the mafia, and it's organized crime. This feels like disorganized crime. This is this crazy guy who engages in all sorts of criminal activity, but it's not to further a particular illegal business. It's, I want to hire a prostitute here and I'm going to get this person because I'm mad at them here, and maybe blow up a car here because I'm mad at them dating somebody. But that's not what typical racketeering is. And I always thought this might be kind of square peg round hole for some of the jurors. And it feels like that's exactly what it is, because it's not just one holdout. They said the jury is split into two groups. I don't know what the breakdown is, whether it's 10-2, 6-6, whatever. But the jury said, we just can't reach a verdict. We're dug in. So we will see if the judge's gentle advice to continue makes a difference. My gut tells me they may well just hang on racketeering. But it's interesting, the other 4 counts, they reached within 2 days. That's a big deal.
How do you read into the other counts and the fact that there is agreement on those?
So here's the thing about that. The Mann Act, I think, is an easy one for prosecutors to prove.
And remind people what the Mann Act is.
Yeah, all that means is you take a sex worker and transport him across state lines for the purpose of prostitution, where they get paid. So we know some of these workers got paid. Sometimes Cassie paid them, but who was really paying them. They crossed state lines. And what the sex worker said was, oh no, I wasn't being paid for sex, I was being paid for time and discretion. Well, that's what a lot of prostitutes say. And I think juries read through that. So I think he's in trouble on those two. As for sex trafficking, that is where Cassie and Jane were allegedly trafficked for sex using coercion, fraud, or force. And as to Cassie, there was a tea leaf that I read here, because yesterday the jury asked for a transcript of Cassie's testimony of when she flew back from Cannes to New York with Diddy. And that's where she says, he showed me a freak off with me on it and said, if you don't do a freak off with me when we get to New York, I'm going to show your mother this and I'm going to release it publicly. If the jury believes it, that's sex trafficking. As to Jane, I just don't know. I think she's more complicated. But I think on the 2 Mann Act charges and on sex trafficking with Cassie, I think he's in trouble. I just don't know about Jane.
So if he's guilty of all the rest of them and racketeering hangs, he's still in a lot of trouble in terms of time behind bars.
Years behind bars. If they hang on racketeering and they get him on 3 or 4 other counts, I don't think the prosecution is going to retry him on racketeering, because it really is a sex trafficking case. And I just don't think they're going to. And that, in a sense, is, a win for Diddy. I know that sounds bizarre, but at least as to racketeering it is. But, he read the tea leaves in court too. He was upset and looked at his family and said, I'm going to be okay. And I think I know what that means.
All right, Harvey Levin, continue to follow TMZ for all the latest on this on the website and all over the broadcasts and digital and everything else. I know you'll be on top of it when we may get a verdict tomorrow.
I think it's going to happen tomorrow. I really do. Whether they reach a verdict or they just say we are hopelessly deadlocked. Juries don't like having it hang over their head for 4-day weekends or interrupting a 4-day weekend.